Ho ho ho. It's me, Santa Claus. You may not know this, but up here in the North Pole, we get ready for the holidays all year. And it's time for me to start deciding what I'm going to give to all the good boys and girls around the world. I have a problem this year, though. Due to the COVID-19 global pandemic, with social distancing measures, my workshop can only operate at 35% capacity. So I had to make the difficult decision to make everyone share their gifts this year. I consulted with my attorney to see how this would work legally.
It's great to see you again, Santa. Here at Concurrent, LLP we specialize in ensuring that your conveyances are exactly how you intend them. Because you intend to convey each of your gifts this year to more than one person, we will need to convey them in a way that creates one of the three common law types of concurrent ownership. In order to determine which is best, we will need to look at each situation individually. I think you and I should spend 60 hours a week for the next 6 months going over your entire list person by person.
Ho ho ho. Thank you! But how much do you charge per hour?
Ha ha ha. Don't worry about that, Santa. Let's get started. Who is first on your list?
Well, first on the list are two siblings, Tennessee and Camille. You stink.
Wow, that is really mean.
You must have me confused with someone who cares.
I'm telling Mum.
I would engage in a battle of wits with you, but I never attack someone who is unarmed.
Unless your name is Google, stop acting like you know everything.
Is your drama going to have an intermission soon? Whoa ho 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 ho. Tennessee is being very mean to his sister. I want to give him a much smaller fractional interest than Camille as a punishment for being so mean to her. As further punishment, I want to convey Camille's interest on Christmas morning, but wait to convey Tennessee his interest until the day after Christmas.
Wow, that is savage, Santa. But are you sure you want them to share a gift? You understand, Santa, that under the three types of concurrent ownership, each of the tenants will have an undivided right to use and possess the whole property.
I have no choice. I won't have enough gifts otherwise. What type of concurrent ownership would be best for tenants who have disproportional interests? I want to give Camille an 89% interest and Tennessee a 1% interest.
A tenancy in common. In a tenancy in common, each co-tenant has an undivided, fractional interest in the property that is freely alienable, divisible, and descendable. And they do not need to have interests that are equal in size and duration.
In English, please.
Sorry, Santa. This means that both Tennessee and Camille will be free to give or sell their individual interests to someone else, devise them to someone else in their wills, or, if either dies without a will, their individual interests will go to their heirs. Doing so will not change the other's interest. It is also the only of the three types of concurrent ownership that allow co-tenants to have fractional interests or interests that are conveyed at different times by different instruments. So, you will be able to convey a 99% interest to Camille and a 1% interest to Tennessee. You will also be able to convey their interests at different times.
Great. How do I convey my gift to Tennessee and Camille in a way that creates a tenancy in common?
Well, tenancy in common is the default type of concurrent ownership today. It will be assumed that is the type of concurrent ownership you intend to create unless you state otherwise in the conveyance, especially because the conveyances will be at different times, by different titles, and unequal in size.
Perfect. Next on my list is Luke Skywalker and his best friend, Han Solo.
Remember during the Battle of Yavin when you were about to be killed by your father, Darth Vader, but I was like pew 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 and saved your life.
Yes, Han Solo, and remember the time when you married my sister, so now we are brothers-in-law.
Yes, it is great that we are such great friends. Are you looking forward to Life Day here on Kashyyyk?
Yes, and because we are such close friends, I hope that Wookiee Sin allows us a kind of concurrent ownership that would ensure that my interest goes to you when I die.
I feel exactly the same way. I hope my interest goes to you when I die.
Well, it seems that Luke and Han are getting along nicely. I want to give them a life day present in which each has a right of survivorship.
Then you will need to create a joint tenancy. I just checked on Westlaw, and luckily the Galactic Empire recognizes the 3 common law forms of concurrent ownership. Luke and Han will have undivided rights to use and possess the whole property as well as a right of survivorship. When one of them dies, say by having his evil son stab him with a lightsaber, the other will automatically become the sole owner.
Wow, how do I convey my gift to Han and Luke in a way that creates a tenancy in common?
It requires the 4 unities.
I was studying ancient Jedi legal texts this morning and came across the 4 unities of time, title, interest, and possession. Have you heard of them?
No, kid.
They are required under common law in order to create a joint tenancy.
Nice, kid.
First is time, all joint tenants must have acquired their interests at the same time. Second is title, all joint tenants must acquire their interests by the same instrument. Third is interest, the shares of each joint tenant must be equal in size and duration. Fourth is possession, each joint tenant must have an equal right to possess, use, and enjoy the whole property.
Hokey religions and ancient common law are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
So, Santa, we will need to draft your conveyance to say to Luke Skywalker and Han Solo as joint tenants with right of survivorship. You must convey an equal share to each at the same time, by the same instrument, with equal rights to possess, use, and enjoy the whole property.
But what happens if Han bets his interest in a game of Sabak and loses it to Lando Calrissian?
Well, then the joint tenancy would be severed because it would break the unities of time and title. Lando and Luke would become tenants in common, each with a 50% interest, but without the right of survivorship.
Sounds good to me. Next on my list is my friend Buddy the Elf and his wife, Jovi.
Congratulations, world's best cup of coffee. Great job, everybody. It's great to be here. You have such a pretty face, Jovi. You should be on a Christmas card.
Thank you, buddy. I love you very much. That is why I married you.
I'm sorry that I crammed 11 cookies into the VCR.
That's okay.
Young love is beautiful. Is there a special type of concurrent ownership for married couples like Buddy and Jovi?
Yes. It is called tenancy by the entirety. It is only for married couples. It is similar to a joint tenancy in that each tenant by the entirety has an undivided right to use and possess the whole property and a right of survivorship. But unlike a joint tenancy, a tenancy by the entirety can be severed only by death, divorce, or agreement of both parties. Creating a tenancy by the entirety requires the 4 unities in addition to the requirement that the tenants by the entirety be married.
We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups: candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
Where did you come from?
Santa said he had to go and asked if I'd sit in for him while he flies back to the North Pole. He wanted me to ask you what language to use when drafting a conveyance to Jovi and me that creates a tenancy by the entirety.
To Buddy the Elf and Jovi as husband and wife as tenants by the entirety. And, luckily for you and Jovi, in some jurisdictions a tenancy by the entirety helps protect your assets from creditors.
So, good news, I saw a dog today.
Well, there you have it, folks. Now that I know about the 3 common law types of concurrent ownership, I can go through my list and decide how I want to structure my conveyances this year. I'm going to try to do it myself to avoid excessive attorney's fees. I think I get the general idea. What could possibly go wrong?